If you're interested in picking up a Nintendo Switch 2 early on in its life cycle, I would definitely recommend doing it sooner than later because new news has come out that could affect the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 moving forward. The price of the Nintendo Switch 2 has been a topic of conversation, whether it be about the actual console versus the games, and whether or not the whole thing itself is overpriced. Since they announced this console, it has been a topic everywhere. Personally, I think the 450 is reasonable, but we were all speculating that this was actually going to go up when they paused the pre-orders. We weren't allowed to do any pre-orders. They delayed everything. We all expected prices to go up, but they came back and the prices stayed the same for the console, only the accessories jumped. And I think based on this interview with the president of Nintendo that we can actually see why they decided to do this. And we just spoke recently about the fact that Xbox is raising its prices. You can see the Xbox Series S is going up to $380 from the $300 price point. The Series X is going up to $600 from the $500 price point, and later this year their games are going up to $80. Then also looking at PlayStation, we also talked about this in a previous video, that PlayStation started raising its prices overseas based on the economic situation of the world. There seems to be a trend as far as game companies raising prices on their consoles and their games, and Nintendo seemed to hint that this could be a possibility for them in the future. With this tweet here from Genki, we have Nintendo President Shuntaro Furuoka says its tariff changes dramatically. If tariff changes dramatically, they will have to raise the price of the Switch 2. Quote, at this time, the top priority is to quickly popularize the Switch 2 hardware. If the assumptions regarding tariffs change significantly, we would like to consider what price adjustments we should make and implement them after considering various factors. Now, this article is on a Japanese Yahoo page, so I had to translate it. But the big thing is, let me find it here. Our basic policy is to recognize tariffs as a cost when determining a sales price in any country or region and incorporate them into the price. But this time, the top priority is to quickly popularize the Nintendo Switch hardware. If the assumptions regarding tariffs change significantly, we would like to consider what price adjustments we would like to make and implement them after considering various aspects, the company said. Now, this is interesting because of the quote itself stating that they would like to popularize the Nintendo Switch 2 quickly. To me, what that reads as is they are expecting that they are going to have to raise their prices, which is what they talked about when they delayed the pre-orders initially. They sat down and they talked with the other people at Nintendo and they were like, can we raise the price right now? And I think with all the backlash and everything else that was going on and the fact that there's this new Nintendo Switch coming out, they opted to bite the bullet and keep it the price that it is currently to get as many people in the door day one as they possibly can, and then later down the road raise prices, potentially at the holiday season, raise prices next year just based on tariffs. And Nintendo seems to be backing this idea that they're going to try and push as many of these units out as possible at launch. This is their consolidated financial forecast that they have. This comes from Central Leaks over on Twitter, and this image has been making the rounds as of right now. I've seen it in a handful of videos already, but they're expecting to sell 15 million Nintendo Switch units in the first year of the system's launch, with 45 million units of software sales or game sales in the first year as well. And they don't expect the Nintendo Switch to slow down either. I mean, a little slowdown compared to what this year did. They did about 10 million units this year, and they're looking to get about 4.5 million units moved next year, with 105 million game units sold, which still very good for the Nintendo Switch itself. But the Nintendo Switch 2, they're looking, like they said, to get this as popularized as possible, and they're looking to move 15 million units in the first year of the system. So we could potentially, if the tariff situation remains the same, see the Nintendo Switch 2 get a bump, I could say maybe 6 months into the life cycle of the system, simply because they are trying to hit this number in the first year. And I'm sure based on pre-orders, they set this goal based on the pre-order excitement and the pre-order numbers. So they have an idea of what we are already out here buying. So they set their financial goals based on that, and I think this is a relatively achievable goal just based on the hype that they've seen so far. If they could keep the price down for as long as possible and get this system out into stores like Walmart and everything, I think this is more than reasonable. As far as the software sales go, I'm sure there's a little back and forth on the software sales on what they could actually hit, simply because of the fact that a lot of the launch titles like Metroid Prime and Pokemon Legends ZA, those release on both the original Nintendo Switch as well as the Switch 2. So that could be really interesting as far as the console, well, the software sales versus the Switch 1 software sales are concerned. And that's what makes sense just based on the fact that they said they want to quickly popularize this console. They want to get this console out in as many hands as possible, get as many people playing in this, as much word of mouth as imaginable for the Nintendo Switch 2. The people saying this is awesome, we love this system, before they go and have to adjust prices. And they also have the benefit of coming out right here and saying that they're already considering this because of tariffs. So they already have a scapegoat way to get around, you know, the why are we raising prices? Is it just greed? No, they've already said that tariffs are causing them to do this. So when they do it in the future, we can look back at this and go, oh, they warned us. They told us this could possibly happen. So they have a way to displace some of the blame for the price jumps. And I'm not saying that they are intentionally displacing the blame, or that, you know, they are being greedy and they're just using the tariffs as an excuse. The economic situation of the world is actually very crazy right now, and everything's going up in prices. You see Xbox raising prices, PlayStation overseas, everything outside of gaming is going up in prices at the moment. So it's just the way things are going right now in the world. Everything is more expensive. I wouldn't be shocked if this does happen later down the road. The Nintendo Switch jumps up. Maybe the base model is $500 and the Mario Kart bundle would end up being $550. I could definitely see that being the case. It would be not so good for Nintendo, admittedly, because currently with the jump in the Xbox prices and with the PlayStation prices potentially going up, Nintendo Switch would be back to being the budget gaming option, which is right where Nintendo likes to sit. But if they have to raise the prices to be similar and match the prices of the Xboxes and the PlayStations, it's not a good thing. It's not even a good look for Nintendo at all. It's very, very not good, especially when you can get a Series S with Game Pass for less than a Nintendo Switch. You can get PlayStation Digital for less than a Nintendo Switch 2 as of right now. It's not a great look if they have to raise their prices, and I would be very worried about the success of the console. But currently we're just it's the Wild West as far as these price changes go. Nobody knows who to blame. Everybody was saying Nintendo was to blame for Xbox, but PlayStation did this overseas weeks ago and nobody said a thing about that. It's just craziness right now. This is one of the oddest console launches I've ever kind of just followed at all. It's just weird to see all of the drama and the craziness that has ensued following the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, and just people, it's a lot of the console war people, the people that like campaign for these like companies. I don't understand that at all, but it's like, oh well, our system does this, oh well, your system raised prices. It's like, who cares? It sucks for everybody. So it's really interesting to see Nintendo actually come out and just say this. So right now might be the best time to buy the Nintendo Switch 2. Much like the Xbox situation, where I bought my Xbox Series X back at launch, or a little time after launch, because there was the whole restock issue. After that, my console is now $100 more than what I bought it for, according to GameStop and Xbox. The same could happen for the Nintendo Switch 2. So right now, getting your hands on it as soon as possible might be the best course of action if you're planning to pick this thing up. I definitely would recommend sooner than later if you can swing it, because right now it's just scary in gaming. It's scary. We don't know what's happening with these prices. We don't know if they're going to come back down at any point. It's a scary, scary time. So let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Not to make anybody, you know, not to fearmonger or anything, just to make people aware of what's going on with this video here. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And because I'm making Nintendo Switch content all the time to post for you guys, so lots of stuff coming here in the future, especially as we get closer and closer to the Switch 2 launch. So get excited about that and hope to you guys stick around for all that. But until next time. Peace.